Oh, okay.
And then take a picture if they want.
Gotcha.
Good evening, everybody. The Board of Education of Caldwell-West Caldwell just met in executive session. We began here on March 9th, 2022 at approximately 6 p.m. The purpose of that meeting was to discuss personnel, litigation, miscellaneous, and old business matters. That meeting was advertised and was compliant with the Open Public Meeting Act and NJSA 10:4-6, which is also known as Sunshine Law. The matters discussed will be made public when confidentiality is no longer required, and formal action pursuant to said discussions shall take place only at a meeting to which the public has been invited. We are now going to begin our regular public monthly meeting at approximately 7:04 p.m. here in the Harrison Conference Room. The board will be this meeting will also be live streamed. The Caldwell-West Caldwell Board of Education's regular public monthly meeting is compliant with the Open Public Meeting Act and NJSA 10:4, which is also known as Sunshine Law. Notices have been sent to the Progress, Caldwell, New Jersey, the Star Ledger of Newark, New Jersey, Tap Into West Essex, and notices also have been posted at the Board of Education business offices here in Harrison School Building, as well as they were sent to the clerks of both Caldwell and West Caldwell for posting. Brian, can you take the roll, please?
Yes. Mr. Diambola. Mr. Elko.
Present.
Ms. Getty.
Present.
Ms. Grasso.
Here.
Mr. Cipoletti.
Here.
So with 4 members present, 1 absent, and we have a quorum.
Thank you. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brian, do we have any communications?
None.
Thank you. And Dr. Heinig, Dr. Conklin, Superintendent's report.
I'll wait for him to answer.
I saw him earlier today.
I know.
That's why it's in my top of my head.
We have a presentation, number 1, from the ECEA Pride in Education Essay Contest winners. So if I could ask the representative to come up and tell us a little bit about the contest and then introduce the winners who are going to read their essays. Make sure you introduce yourself.
Hi,
Thank you.
my name is Erica Brock and I'm a 4th grade teacher at Washington Elementary. I am also the chairperson of the Teachers Education Association Pride Committee. Pride in Public Education is a campaign that shares the successes of New Jersey's public schools while building community support and involvement. Pride programs help increase community awareness of the great things happening in our public schools. One of the activities of the Pride program took part this year was the Essex County Essay Contest. Each grade level was given a themed topic to write about. The district had submissions from every grade from kindergarten through 8th grade. Out of all of Essex County, our district did quite well. We had winners in 6 out of the 9 grade levels that had participated, 4 of which were 2nd place winners and 2 of which were 1st place winners. The topics for the contest were as follows. Kindergarten had to write about every day I learn about. 1st and 2nd grade, I look forward to going to school because. 3rd and 4th grade, what is your favorite part of the school day or year? 5th and 6th grade, who is a person during your school years who has instilled pride in you? And 7th and 8th grade, why is it important to accept others for who they are? I will now read the names of our 2nd place winners and invite them to come up to get their certificate and prize. Melanie Kerrigan. It's okay. I'll give it to you later. Good job, honey. Kayla Wilson. Vincent Fajoli. Sienna Wilson. I will now read the names names of our first place winners and invite them to come up and read their essays and then get their certificate and prize. Mia Miedler. Good job. Well done. You're welcome. And Francesca Grosso.
Two teachers who have instilled pride in me would be my teachers, Miss Sproul and Miss Parmeshwar. These two teachers are the reason I want to go to school every day and the reason I feel comfortable when I do go. They make our classroom a safe environment and always check up on us if we are feeling blue or if we are struggling with work or even just struggling in general. They make me feel so confident every second of the day. When I'm not sure about a math problem or writing, etc., I go up to them and I ask them for help. And if I don't understand the strategy for those problems, we go over different ones that make a lot of sense, and it always helps me no matter what. They always bring out the positives in things and taught me to do that always as well, even if I don't want to. I'm always so delighted to walk in the door and have them welcome me in with such a big smile on their face, even through the masks. I have to admit, on the first day of school, I was very nervous because they were new and I didn't know what to expect or anything about them. But when I first sat in my chair, it was like they had been here forever. They are the reason I'm the person I am today, and I'm so proud of myself for that, and I owe it all to them. All the teachers I've had in the past have helped me in many ways, and I thank them for that as well. But I thought I would write about these teachers because they have made a big impact on me and helped me in every way possible. I feel so much more confident and happier, and I believe in myself at all times. Sometimes in the past it was very hard for me to. I always thought I would fail, but these teachers proved me wrong. I was very lucky to get these teachers this year, and I'm so happy I'm spending my last year in elementary school with them.
I just want to congratulate all those who participated in the essay contest, and I look forward to reading all the essays next year and having another good showing from our district. Thank you.
Can we take a little break and maybe we can get pictures with all the winners?
Sounds
the board
great.
members? Thank
Sounds
you.
great.
So we're just going to take a few-minute break so all the winners can come up and take pictures with the board members. And their families are invited as well, so everyone can come on up. You guys are gonna have to.
What happened?
A lot of chairs.
Yes, now we're gonna have a presentation.
Oh, we are, right, okay. I can stay right here, I guess. Stay here?
Yeah, you can stay right here. You guys ready? So I'd like to introduce Miss Caitlin Jones. She's going to introduce the Count Basie Film Festival participants and the winner.
First, congratulations to all the essay winners and their families. It's exciting. I'm here because Mr. Bertolo was unable to come present, and I'm honored to be here to celebrate 2 of our middle school students. A little context is the Count Basie Center Teen and College Film Festival is an independent film festival that's open to New Jersey students in 7th and 8th grades, high school, and college. Named after the American jazz pianist, organist, band leader, and composer who led the Count Basie Orchestra for almost 50 years, this festival celebrates the arts and our students' creative talents. Last year, Grover Cleveland Middle School was fortunate to have 2 films chosen as winners while honoring 3 students who created those films. This year, we're fortunate to have 2 of our students' films selected as official participants in the 2022 Film Festival. All films were shown during the festival during the weekend of April 22nd at the Count Basie Center of the Arts in Red Bank. An online webinar was held on April 27th featuring panelists from the film industry, where they offered insights into filmmaking while also announcing the winners of the festival. Please join me in recognizing 7th grader Emma Torian, whose film Sibling Superpowers was chosen as an official participant in the film festival. While Emma is only a 7th grader, we look forward to seeing what films she produces in the future. Join me in congratulating Emma. We'll be viewing your film shortly, so those at home, get your popcorn ready. Please also join me in congratulating 8th grader Pilar Jacobs, whose film A Dog's Day, featuring Luna, was chosen as middle school best film at this year's festival. To celebrate, we will now play for you Emma's Sibling Superpowers, followed by Pilar's A Dog's Day featuring Luna.
Kids, I'm leaving. Be good. Remember, no powers. Remember, Mom said no powers in the house. Do you remember what happened last time? Yeah. Sure.
Congratulations again to Emma and Pilar. We'll take a quick break for a quick photo op.
And last but not least, the James Caldwell High School Future Business Leaders of America conference participants and winners. If the representative could please come up and introduce everyone, that'd be great. Make sure you introduce yourself as well. There was a special article in the superintendent's newsletter for this, so
Yes, it was. Can you hear me?
thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Calvin Harper. I am the marketing and business teacher at James Caldwell High School. I am also the co-advisor of Future Business Leaders of America, our FBLA chapter. We're just completing our second year as a school chapter. We started in September of 2020. Last year we were pretty much virtual the whole year. We only had one in-person event, which was in June. And then this year we had the opportunity to participate fully as a chapter. I don't know if you know, but FBLA stands for Future Business Leaders of America. There are over 3,000 students in New Jersey, over 200,000 students worldwide that compete in competitions and participate in activities that prepare them for the world of work and college. And so we've had a very successful year. In only our second year, we had students do amazingly well. And so I'd like to share some of the results of what we did this year. We had 20 students. Before I should say that, I should say that there are multiple levels of FBLA competition, regional, state, and national. So the regionals take place in December. We had 20 students participate in regional events, and 11 of them advanced to the state level. And then we had 3 other students, along with those 11, compete in the state level. So we had 24 students in total compete in the state competition down in Atlantic City in March. We were there for 2 days. They were educational days, just in case you were wondering. We came home richer, but only in the form of education. At least most of us. No. So we had 24 students compete in the state conference, and for our first time, I mean, I was the director of FBLA at my previous school, but we had 24 students participate in the state conference, and we had 14 out of 24 placed in the top 10 in the state of New Jersey. And we had 11 award winners that placed in the top 5. And so I'm going to, and along with that, were 5, one team of 4, and 1 individual state champions in their event. So I'm going to share some of the people who were there. But I want to start out with Amanda DiMaria. Amanda DiMaria was the student that approached me 2 years ago about starting FBLA. And so her, along with Uma Atreya and Elise Lammers, were the 3 students that helped us form the organization. Amanda DiMaria won a scholarship award at the conference in the state of New Jersey. Also, and I have them come up, when they come up when I call your name. In 4th place for hospitality and event management was Amanda DiMaria and her partner Uma Atreya. Then we had they're looking at the back. They can see me. They don't need to see me. They can see you. Right. And also in 4th place for international business was the trio of Aiden Liebland, Joshua Scott, and Aiden Hurley. In 3rd place, for mobile application development, we had Ryan Nair. Again, for the first time our school ever did this competition, this was like ridiculous. No, it really was. I was almost getting tired of going up taking pictures of them on the stage. It was another really amazing, funny story to tell you with this one. But in 1st place for e-business, 1st place in the state of New Jersey, freshman Garner Gehring. So I'm gonna tell Garner's funny story. So Garner's on stage, they call his name on stage. So if you got called on stage, you finish in the top 10. So Garner's on stage, and while he's on stage, they announce 4th place, all the schools start cheering. 3rd place, 2nd place, all the schools start cheering. And they say 1st place, Garner Gehring. And we all start cheering, and Garner just stands there. We're like, yeah. He's like, and they're like, Garner Gehring. Waiting for him to step forward for his trophy, and he doesn't move. He's just looking around. And so they take the award off the stage and tell him all to get off. And so he walks up the stage, and we run up to him, Garner, what are you doing? He was like, what? We're like, you won. He's like, I won what? Like, you came in 1st place in the state of New Jersey. He was like, I did? Like, they called your name. Like, I couldn't hear him. So we had to go backstage and convince him that he won so they can give his trophy. And another really amazing feat, and I have this trophy right here, I had these 4 ladies compete in open events. Open events is a challenge you get when you show up in Atlantic City. They give you the challenge. You have a certain time frame to complete the challenge and submit it. And our 4 girls, the state of New Jersey, came in 1st place in open events. Ileana Acosta, Julia Rodriguez, Taylor Casano Patty, and Caramia Olivera. So we have 6 of our students are going to national championships in Chicago, Illinois, the last week of June. But it's, you know, it being so surprising that we made it this far so fast, we're doing some fundraisers. So we have a silent auction starting today. We have a Chipotle fundraiser June 1st. And if anyone of you can tell your families and friends to support us, would be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much.
We're going to take a couple-minute break so we can get some more pictures.
Which one do you want me to do?
Personnel? You can policy?
I don't care. Do you want to do personnel or do you want me to?
I can do personnel.
Okay. All right, so I'm just going to do three. I do want to say something about the retirements. Just,
So I think we do personnel, not policy.
oh, okay. Okay.
Dr. Conklin, anything else?
No, I have nothing else, Board President. Thank you.
You got it. And thankfully, I have nothing because it's hard to top that. So that was pretty impressive.
Just bang it down.
All right, now we're going to move into approval of minutes of the public conference meeting and the executive session minutes of April 4th and the regular public monthly meeting minutes and executive session of April 18th. Have an approval?
So moved.
Second? Perfect. Brian, will you take the vote, please?
Yes. Mr. Elko?
Yes.
Ms. Getty?
Yes.
Ms. Grasso?
Yes.
Mr. Cipolleti?
Yes.
4-0, motion carried.
Thank you. And we're going to move into public comments on agenda and agenda items only, please, at this time. Participants must be recognized by the presiding officer, must preface their comments by an announcement of their name and address. Statements should be limited to 3 minutes duration and may only address items on the agenda at this particular time. Participants may speak no more than once on the same topic until all others who wish to speak on that topic have been heard, and all statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. If there's any questions or comments on the agenda items, please come up to the podium.
Hi, my name is Liz Hart, 149 Ravine Avenue. I have a question about the budget that was voted on and approved last session. So last week there was the presentation of the, the budget, and then afterwards, or during the meeting, I asked some questions, and then I was told that I could follow up with additional questions. And then in the response to my questions, I was told that there was already a vote on the budget. And so my question to you all is, back on, March 21st, in the agenda, there was like a very high level top line, revenue and expenses. Nothing as detailed as what Mr. McCarthy went through last week. So my question is, at what point do we, the public, get to actually see a more detailed, itemized budget for us to be able to comment on and feel like we have some sort of input on it? Is that?
You want me to answer? So the process is that all along the board has been apprised of various levels and great detail in the budget, and first time we approve the tentative budget is to submit that budget to the county, and then we come back, and once the county has approved it, there is actually a public hearing, and really that's the opportunity many times for the public to see for the first time the details of the budget. They call it the public hearing. Granted, it's not really the time you can dive into the details, and then the board then will vote on it, and the user-friendly budget, which you had questions about today, is usually posted the day after it's approved. Between about 3 days, once we advertise the budget, the budget is required to be advertised 4 days before the public hearing. There is by law where people can go to the business office. In the advertisement, it says that if you want to review the budget that's been advertised, you can call the business office and come in, and we legally have to show you the whole budget. So it's a unusual process, but if you really wanted to dive into the details before we voted on it, it's really after it's advertised 4 days before the public hearing, and you can come in and look at in more detail.
Okay, and is that something that actual process, is that made readily available to the general public? To be honest, this is the first time that I've actually delved deeper into it. I did have questions, but I felt like it was kind of, we were just going through the motion, right? Of like, oh, here's the budget, great, and you can ask questions, but it doesn't really matter what your questions are because it's already approved.
The only time really is the 4 days. So if you see the budget going forward, the public hearing, whatever date it is, we have to advertise a minimum of 4 days. I think it was advertised on April 28th, and if you look at, it's in progress. And then if you look in the bottom there, it says that if you have any questions about the budget, please contact, actually I think my name's on there, or the business office. Okay. So really that's the first opportunity, because at that point everything's tentative.
Right.
And so we can't really go out and comment on things until it's essentially been advertised, and we think that's what's going to be voted on and approved.
Right. I mean, unfortunately, I don't, subscribe to the progress. So is that something that would be a proactive approach where the business administrator's office would just offer that up to, the general public as like, okay, we've advertised the budget. You have 4 days if you want to comment on it or if you have any questions on it.
Well, that's the process, and we don't typically just put things out there. I mean, we're not going to put something out there until is essentially been finalized by the board.
No, I know. What
And
you're
we've
saying that
advertised
the
it.
Progress advertises it, right? So it's like if you have a subscription to the Progress, great, you're aware of it, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't, so I
Yes.
wasn't aware of it. And so what I'm saying is there's plenty of communication that goes out from the superintendent's office about various things as it relates, to the education in Caldwell, whatever, West Caldwell Board of Ed.
Yeah, we could look at expanding our offers next year and how it gets
Okay.
advertised, absolutely.
Yeah, I would just appreciate that because I
understand.
pay my taxes. I really am interested in how the money is spent, and obviously, of course, in the best interest of my child and the other students here. And so it just feels like when the budgets are presented and the numbers are presented, and you have questions, it just feels like it doesn't matter what my questions are because it's already been decided.
No, I understand that, and we'll do a better job next year to make sure everyone knows the process. If you have any additional questions about the budget, I saw the email and
Yeah.
Mr. McCarthy answered it. There's additional questions that come about that, we're happy to answer that. Sometimes it's hard to kind of look at the numbers and really get an understanding of what went up,
Absolutely.
what went down, and why it went up and why it went down, because we have to actually do a look back from last year, not
Yeah.
necessarily this year's budget. So it's a little more intricate than that. So if there's questions that come up from the responses you had, please feel free to reach out to one of us and we'll get back to you.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll just tell you, I look back 4 years, back, because I know that with COVID years, the budget and the numbers are going to be very different if you do a year-over-year comparison. So I went to 18-19, 19-20, and that's where I had some flags.
So I would just ask, is it possible, because she referenced the presentation, and I wasn't here last Monday, but I was able to watch it, and I thought it was great, and I would encourage other people to go on YouTube and watch it yourselves as well. It's a good breakdown of what the budget is in layman's terms. Is it possible for us to do something like that prior to the day that we vote on it?
Yeah, as long as we hit the regulated guidelines in
Sure.
terms of the date that it has to be submitted, we could do that. We just have to make sure that we get it approved before the deadline. So
Right.
we just have to look at the Mondays or whatever the board meeting dates are next year to make sure we could do a presentation and then do a vote similar to what we do now, caucus and then a vote.
And to kind of echo what they were saying, it's highly regulated how the budget is advertised and then put forward to different areas. And if you look back in the minutes, you'll see that in some of the earlier meetings, we laid that out, I think, in our agenda.
Yes.
What that process is. So that little dance is pretty regulated. So we'll have to figure out, okay, we have to have a meeting here, and then when can we have this more comprehensive explanation of what's in the budget. So that might be a little tricky. But I do think, Mr. Conklin's, Dr. Conklin's statement before makes a lot of sense, right? Like, we're required to advertise when our board meetings are through certain media, but we still put it on the website. Why not, right?
Yep.
So I think that that's a fair request.
Okay, all right. I'll be following up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on the agenda?
I'm not sure if this is on the agenda. Frank Ocho, 51 Park Street. My son is starting kindergarten in Jefferson in September, and I just got the notification about a virtual orientation.
Yeah, so there'll be a kindergarten virtual orientation, so the parents can participate through each building, and then there'll be a in-person screening that happens at Harrison Building.
And so, I mean, most of the other towns have, more in-depth orientation, in-person orientation. So when did the virtual orientation process, when did that happen in this town?
Since the COVID, they've been going virtual, and the building principals wanted to continue to have it be virtual. With the numbers moving in the direction that they're moving in, they wanted to make sure everyone had the opportunity to participate safely.
So that's gonna be one-on-one with parents and?
So each teacher will have their own virtual orientation online, so you'll get a Google invitation, specifically Google Meet invitation or Zoom invitation from the teacher, and then they'll have that orientation online.
And then when will be our first opportunity to come to the school?
Probably over the summertime, there'll be a scheduled opportunity for parents to come in and see the classroom, so that way we don't have everyone in the room at once. We have them staggered into the room so that we don't have 60 parents in a room at one time.
Okay, but that will happen over the summer?
Yeah, that'll
besides
be
from the-
scheduled throughout the summer.
And that's aside from the screening, or?
That's separate from the screening.
That's separate from the screening, okay.
Because the screening is going to happen at Harrison School again,
Yep.
to make sure that we're not having all the students come into the building.
Okay.
We wanted to do it on a separate location, so it'll happen in this building. And again, you'll get an invitation from the building principal about what's on that date, so you'll have a window to come to Harrison School to get that screening, and if you can't make it that day, they'll make other arrangements.
Okay. And then I had one other question about the aftercare. Is that on this meeting?
The aftercare is on the agenda, yes.
Okay.
Well, it was actually approved at last agenda, but.
So is that's being switched also? Because I've been in contact with the YMCA for weeks now, and I've been getting pushback, wait till after today's meeting.
Well, it was approved at the last meeting, but yes, we switched to Champions.
Okay.
So
And
there'll be
then-
the before and after care program, and the email went out from the business office today and from through the superintendent, and then each building sent out the additional one, and there's gonna be more information that follows. But today was basically a general information about what it is, and registration and everything else should be followed in the next day or so.
So is there a previous meeting about the Champions?
It was approved at the last meeting.
At the last meeting, okay. All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Susan Bergman, 6 Florence Place. I'm also a teacher at James Caldwell High School. I'd just like to piggyback off of the previous questions. First, I think many parents were caught off guard because we received emails over the weekend from the Y telling us that their contract was not renewed before we received anything from the district. Also, if you were currently enrolled in before or after care, you had the ability to register ahead of anyone else who was new coming in. So we all have places in before and after care at this point. I know the YMCA said we would be refunded the money that we've paid for the registration, but many parents are questioning whether we are now placed back into the general pool. Will we be grandfathered into those spots that we already have? Or do we now have to register new like everybody else? And will there be a cap on the program number like there is currently with the Y?
There's not planned to be any cap.
Okay.
Champions will register everyone, and everyone will be provided a before after care seat.
Okay, so then we don't have to worry that we were previously registered and now.
No, there's no plans to provide any cap to it.
Okay.
We don't want to have a cap on it.
Okay.
If parents need before and after care, whether it's 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, they should have access to that.
Okay.
And that's what Champions offered us. That's how we went with that company as opposed to the Y.
Okay, and then there was also mention on the pricing sheet about scholarships. Do you guys have any information on?
That's up to the Champions. You'd have
Okay.
to work that out with them, and then they'll communicate with us.
Okay.
If it depends on what the needs of the family are. So they
Okay.
would work with us to make sure that if parents needed the before after care and there was a financial stress on that family, that we would support whatever that need was.
Okay, and were you aware that the YMCA was sending that letter out before you guys were?
Absolutely not. They
Okay.
don't. The YMCA and the Caldwell-West Caldwell School District are two separate entities.
Right.
They worked independent of us this whole time.
Okay.
I had no idea they were sending that letter out. If they
Okay.
would have asked me if they should, I would have said no.
Okay.
Until after we sent our letter out, but they didn't ask.
Okay.
And they just did it on their own, so.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments on the agenda? If not, we'll move into committee reports. Curriculum and technology.
Motion to approve item numbers 1 through 7 on this evening's agenda under curriculum and technology.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? If not, Brian, could you take the roll, please?
Yes. Mr. Elko.
Yes.
Ms. Getty.
Yes.
Ms. Grasso.
Yes.
Mr. Cipoletti.
Yes.
4-0, motion carried.
Thank you. Ms. Getty, personnel?
Thank you, Mr. Cipoletti. I make a motion to approve certificated staff items letters A through I and non-certificated staff item letters A through J on this evening's agenda under personnel.
Thank you. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments?
Just a comment. I wanted to take a moment with regard to the retirements that are located on page 9. Barbara Mercado, who was a special education aide in the district for many years, and also John Jones, one of our custodians at Lincoln High School. I just wanted to say thank you for your years of service to the district. It's very, very much appreciated.
Thank you. Brian, take the roll, please.
Mr. Elko.
Yes.
Ms. Getty.
Yes.
Ms. Grasso.
Yes.
Mr. Cipoletti.
Yes.
4-0, motion carried.
Thank you. Mr. Elko, Finance and Facilities.
Yeah, motion to approve numbers 1 through 18 on this evening's agenda under Finance, and also item number 1 under Facilities.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Brian, take the roll, please.
Mr. Elko?
Yes.
Ms. Getty?
Yes.
Ms. Grasso?
Yes.
Mr. Cipoletti?
Yes.
4-0, motion carried.
Thank you. Ms. Getty, policy, please.
Thank you. I make a motion to approve item numbers 1 and 2 on this evening's agenda under policy.
Have a second?
I'll second.
And any questions or comments? Brian, can you take the roll, please?
Mr. Elko?
Yes.
Ms. Getty?
Yes.
Ms. Grasso?
Yes.
Mr. Cipoletti?
Yes.
4-0, motion carried.
Thank you. Now we're going to move into public comments on basically anything outside of the agenda. Again, the following rules apply. Participants must be recognized by the presiding officer and must preface their comments by their name and address. Statements are to be limited to 3 minutes in duration. Participants may speak no more than once on the same topic until all others who wish to speak on that topic have been heard, and all statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. Any questions or comments, please come up to the podium.
Hello.
Hello.
Jeannie Gurdy, secretary teacher at Washington School. And I'm just here to hopefully share some thoughts that might encourage some positive movement. First, I must take a moment to say how fortunate I am to work with such incredible professionals all across our district. You do remarkable work every day, and the children of Caldwell and West Caldwell are very fortunate to have you all here. And it was a great pleasure to see some of my former students here tonight and others from around the district, and how lovely that they were honored, and congratulations to all of them. Great stuff. A question. Why the mass exodus of teachers and principals since September? No, this is not typical. This kind of number is not typical. And it is a great concern and should be. It is a result of pressure, massive volumes of clerical work, think Lincoln. Lack of flexibility due to lockstep pacing, which impacts creativity. Many weekend hours of work that takes away from our families, and more. You know the list. We've been speaking to that since September. No one fully understands the stress, pressure, and responsibility in our day unless you live it, really live it. Not just a day or 3, but really live it, so much so that you take it home with you. It is just not sustainable. It's just not sustainable. We need solutions for all of our schools to do we need solutions to do what all of us do best, no matter our job title. Teacher, principal, nurse, no matter our job title. We've been heard. We appreciate that. Please know we have been heard, and we know that changes are in the works. Thank you. No, it is appreciated. And that being said, I'd like to concentrate on Washington School for a moment, although this does go for all of the elementary schools. That being said, Washington School specifically is unique in that we are a school and a half compared to some of the other elementary schools. There are 140 more students at Washington than at Lincoln School. And that, of course, means more staff to manage as well. 140 more emails, 140 more COVID forms to keep track of, 3 classes per grade level, not 2, more students going through the halls, lunchrooms, and to specialists. Connecting with more students, parents, teachers, staff. With bigger numbers, there is a bigger percentage of absences and not enough subs, of more phone calls from concerned parents, more parents that have to be reached out to, more paperwork for principals, nurses, and our wonderful pro, Mrs. Dyer, who puts miles on each day running our office. My point was not to come here to complain about all of this, but instead to shed some light on Washington School's unusual circumstances and the need for more of everything. I imagine you're already thinking of this, but I have a few ideas. I'd like to recommend that there's perhaps an administrative liaison hired to assist the principal. A person who might deal with, say, just the 504s, the IEPs, the meetings that are connected to go with this, and the phone calls that go with all of this. Or perhaps this person might just take care of the discipline issues, have a presence on the playground and in the cafeteria, allowing the principal to be with the children and to be a principal. Good old-fashioned principal. Present and around, divide and conquer. With all of the assignments the principals have now, it's no wonder that they come and go, because it is a difficult job. Again, not sustainable. Another idea. Hire a guidance counselor. Our wonderful guidance counselor in Washington School has to connect with all 387 children in some way. She has to meet with children who are in great need of support, and these new needs arise daily and weekly and hourly. She can only do so much and still maintain her sanity and her health. It's a matter of her health as well. Consider another counselor to ease the load. Hire permanent aides, one per grade level for every elementary school and perhaps the middle school and high school, so that we as teachers know there will be some time each week where we will have definite assistance. It can take the load off of some of the things that we have to do, like cutting cards for our new math curriculum or copying things for running records, etc., etc. As simple as it sounds, it will make a giant difference. One aide per grade level to share. Guaranteed help every week. Hire a permanent substitute, maybe 2 for Washington School, because we're larger. This sub can come every day. Chances are he or she will be needed every day, and then a substitute won't have to be hunted down. I've watched Mrs. Dyer run around and try to get coverage for classes. She puts on more miles when she does that. So if the substitute isn't needed, a specialist or an aide won't have to be hunted down to cover a class. If there is no need for a sub, there is copying, guided reading, and math, changing a bulletin board, entering data into the computer. This would be a huge help. Helping students who are absent catch up, helping a student who is struggling, work with an ELL child to learn new words. There is never a lack of something to be done in our buildings. Never. I ask myself, why am I bringing this to the table? For goodness sakes, I'm about to retire. It will soon not be a problem for me. I am here because I know this district. I know it well. I know the power of our teachers and staff, and I am hopeful. Hopeful that we can turn this all around. Focus on the people, not the programs. Talk to your people. Really listen to your people. Help us to help your children. Help us to help our children. We have dedicated, caring people to make this happen through communication and brainstorming together, so that people come to Washington School to stay and become a family. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gertie. Any other questions or comments? Okay, if not, we are, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I had one. I just wanted to say one. You could go ahead. I'll save mine for the last. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nancy Scott, 14 Elgin Drive. My son was one of the award winners for the FBLA. I'm just curious, since it's a new organization, the school, doesn't give them any money to go to Atlantic City or Chicago. I was just wondering how something like that gets into the budget eventually.
We actually did support them going to Atlantic City.
Okay, I'll say Chicago, because I know some people can't go.
I asked the teacher to send me what it's going to cost, and we'll figure something out.
To Chicago? Okay. Tonight or previously?
I asked him this evening when he said, I have a fundraiser. I said, email me tomorrow what the cost is, and we'll see what we can do to help you out.
Okay, because, just for my son, it's like 1,000. It's just crazy.
I understand. That's why I asked him to email us so we could figure it out, help him figure it out.
Because they're going without an advisor even.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I know the community has been seeing my emails that we have had a steady increase in COVID. I did receive a memo today from the Department of Education concerned that all of New Jersey is headed back into the orange. They didn't say we were going into the orange, so please don't take that we're going into the orange. I contacted the Department of Health as well. They wouldn't say we were going into the orange, but they were concerned that if the numbers keep going the way they're going, we'll be back in the orange, which is the high level of transmission in all of New Jersey, not just Essex County. I did report 17 cases today. That's the highest number I've reported since January 11th of this year, and that was immediately following our winter break. So I am concerned as well. I would just ask the board to be cognizant of that we may need to have more conversations about adjusting some of the mitigation strategies we have in place. I don't think there's any reason to panic right now or make any decisions, but it's just something I wanted the board and the community to be aware of, that we're looking into it, and we're, you know, hoping that this is just a blip and the numbers go back down again. So.
Sure. Understood. Thank you, Dr. Conklin.
You're welcome.
Okay, since there are no other questions or comments, I'm going to ask that we move into executive session. The purpose of that meeting will be to discuss personnel, litigation, miscellaneous, and old business matters. That meeting has been advertised and is compliant with the Open Public Meeting Act and NJSA 10:4-6, which is also known as the Sunshine Law. The matters discussed will be made public when confidentiality is no longer required, and formal action pursuant to said discussion shall take place only at a meeting to which the public has been invited. Do I have a motion to move into executive session?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion made by Ms. Grosso and seconded by Ms. Getty. Upon the recommendation of Superintendent of Schools, the Caldwell-West Caldwell Board of Education shall enter executive session at approximately 8 p.m.
All in favor, ayes?
Aye.
Aye.
Nays? Abstentions? Motion carried.
Thanks for coming, everybody.